Doesn't everyone want to stand on top of a car or just have that hoodie thing come up and just stand up like in a limousine? There's tons of chick flicks that've got to be doing that. Free Spirit is the second studio album released by Khalid. Yeah, I'm releasing this one pretty dang late, but it feels like it has to be done. I have to review this album before the year ends. Let's get to it. Last year, I reviewed his EP, Sun City. Some of the songs in that EP are now in this album. I feel like some of those I have kind of warmed up to in a way, so it definitely feels like it's going to give this album slightly more of a favorable review. This album is definitely keeping up with Khalid's style, which essentially is groovy and very laid back. This album is pushing itself to almost being a little too long. Thankfully, it doesn't feel quite like that, but if you are going to invest listening to it from beginning to end, just be prepared. 17 tracks, don't mess with that. This year's great single that comes off of this album is Talk. This one definitely deserves to be highlighted because of all the songs that I feel like are out there, some are a little bit too melodramatic, or, maybe we're getting fast-paced songs that don't actually mean anything. This one is a slower tempo, and I feel like we have a little fun with this slower tempo. Another song I think was well made in here is Don't Pretend. Also the song 100. That 80s drum beat in there works out really well. Khalid continues to impress me on the sense of his lyricism. I do sometimes still struggle or just wonder how far can he really go with this style. It feels like he has kind of self-inflicted personal range. I feel like this style works. It's just a matter of what the longevity is going to actually be like continuing with his career. That's the concern I have. With this album, I think it plays off better. I feel like it's a pretty consistent mood. You do have to kind of buy into it at the beginning. You might want a couple more up-tempo songs in here, and it's not like you're not going to get that, but maybe not at the up-tempo you would like, because that doesn't always go well with his vocal style. Would I like to see him switch that up? Yeah, but I also do think that it's working for him. I just am not sure. Again, longevity. We'll see what happens with that. Even though I've already mentioned the songs that I think are worth the highlights, I will talk about a couple others. With Bad Luck, it's like a good laid-back mood, perfect for a late-night drive, which kind of makes sense with the album cover here. The song My Bad has clear guitars, which keep kind of a focus in that groove that it's playing into. The one song I wish I could talk a little bit more positively on is Out of My Head, which has John Mayer in it. Now, John Mayer is not actually a vocalist in this song, he is the guitarist. The reason I can't really praise this song too much is because it feels kind of boring. This guitar that John Mayer brings in is around the end, which does liven it up a lot more, even though, the tempo is still not super upbeat. The song Alive has a really good line in there where it talks about, I shouldn't have to die to feel alive. There's some depth in there that is kind of scary in today's day and age, and that might be a reason why so many people feel like they can relate to his music, because of lines like that. Not something that we would like, but poetry and lyricism do have to speak to something. But that line reminds me, there are tons of troubled hearts out there, and he is going to relate to a lot of people when he gets to that point where it becomes the most sensitive to deal with the hardships of life. Life is hard. The thing is, we have to be okay with that. Life isn't supposed to be easy, but it also is more than just bearable. It can be enjoyed. This can be one of those methods of escape. I would love for other people to think of other music as well, but having Khalid's music is not a bad option. I think his talent is perfectly appropriate for that kind of rescue, I suppose, is one of the ways that you can make this work. And that's probably why so many people are really liking this album this year. It feels like people really do come for Khalid's music as a escape method. Now, if Khalid understands this, I would challenge him to be able to use his music to also bring us out of it, not just to comfort us. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But if there's also a way to bring us out into a more positive light, or to find maybe more purpose for ourselves through some songwriting, that would be stupendous. It really would. There'd be a terrific thing for people and their wavering souls out there. Sure, that's not really his responsibility, but maybe through that, his audience can listen to a little bit more and find something out from those holes of despair that people are feeling that they're in. Khalid has a higher ceiling than he actually is achieving. This album, in my opinion, shows that he is reaching a little bit higher for it, but I still think he has a ways to go, and that's okay. It's second album. There's always time to keep moving forward. But if people think that he's at his peak right now, I would challenge that, because I think he can do even more. So after having listened and reviewed this album, with production of 96%, creativity 85%, expression and lyrics 82%, I'm going to give this album a yeah. For real, those I would probably like to do a road trip now that I'm looking at that album cover. Got to do that soon. I have a couple friends who definitely want to do that. Just got to decide where, with who, how, when, etc. Too many thoughts, but let's get on with it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to subscribe and follow all the social media for this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.